Bienvenidos a Talent Talk. El mes de la herencia hispana es una celebración anual de la historia y la cultura de las comunidades latinas y hispanas en los Estados Unidos. Estoy muy orgullosa de presentarte este increíble panel de líderes hispanos en la industria de bienes raíces. Hoy estaremos compartiendo nuestras experiencias de vida, trabajo, cultura y comunidad. Hello and welcome to Talent Talk. Hispanic Heritage Month is an annual celebration of the history and the culture of the United States, Latinx, and Hispanic communities. I am very excited to present to you this amazing panel of Hispanic leaders in the real estate industry. Today, we will be sharing our experiences in life, work, culture, and community. Let's go ahead and introduce our guests.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are starting with an amazing panel that we have of our agents. So I'm very excited to present to you this amazing panel of Hispanic leaders in the real estate industry. Today, we will be sharing our experiences in life, work, culture, and community. Estoy muy orgullosa de presentarte este increíble panel de líderes hispanos en la industria de bienes raíces. Hoy estaremos compartiendo nuestras experiencias de vida, trabajo, cultura y comunidad. So, thank you so much for being here today. Davina, you want to take it from here?
Absolutely. And you opened up and I said, let's go. What a wonderful introduction. So I have to say, I am one of the four that is not from the Latinx Hispanic community, but I am completely honored to be in this space with you guys as we celebrate and acknowledge our Hispanic community during this month. So I want to just say thank you guys all for being here. And it's so amazing that our real estate, we have an amazing mix of diversity in our office, and we get to just every day get to be able to be in community with each other. And I think it's really such a blessing that we have that opportunity. So absolutely. We typically start our day with let's get some introductions on. So who are you, our amazing brokers that are right here in here? Christy, do you want to go ahead and start and then we'll just send it off? We already know who you are, but just for the record, let's start. Who are
Of
you?
Of course. So, my name is Cristina Salcedo. I am the marketing director for John F. Scott Talent, and I am the first generation Cuban American immigrant. So, mi nombre es Cristina Salcedo. Soy la directora de marketing de John F. Scott Talent y soy una inmigrante cubana de primera generación.
Awesome. And right below you, we have Jorlani. Will you introduce yourself, Jorlani? And you can speak in Spanglish, English, Spanish, whatever suits you, girl.
Okay, I'm going to switch that Spanish and English so everybody can understand, or most of them. Mi nombre es Jorleni Clapper, yo soy de Costa Rica, tengo 18 años de vivir en Estados Unidos y soy una agente de bienes raíces en la oficina de John L. Scott DuPont. My name is Jorleni Clapper. I've been living in the United States for 18 years. I'm a real estate agent in the office of John L. Scott in DuPont. And I'm also work with a language program, Spanish, Chinese, and French, that teach languages in the schools as well.
Awesome. And without further ado, we have our legacy broker in the house. Now, Rafael has more real estate under his belt than all of us combined here, and he has been definitely a resource. So, Rafael, would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you. I've been in real estate for over 40 years. I started after I retired from the Air Force, over 20 years in the Air Force. I retired here at McCord Air Force Base, and in '79 I went into real estate, and I'm a managing broker with John L. Scott DuPont office, and I think I've seen it all.
Where are you originally from, Rafael?
Every
Where are you
market.
originally from?
I originally started in Texas, born in Texas, and I was raised in near Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's when I joined the Air Force. And then I stayed in Europe for 10 years, Spain, of course, and Amsterdam, Holland. So I had a good life in the military.
And which
And I
Hispanic
retired here at McCord, so
and which is of the Hispanic community are you representing?
the Mexican.
All right. Awesome. You know what? We asked Rafael. Rafael, he over delivers. I'm telling you, we go way back. So thank you so much, Rafael. So as you can see, we actually have a group, and this is not it. So this is just 3 of the many agents that represent a lot of different communities as well. So I mean, we've got Rafael is representing Mexico. We've got Jorlani representing Costa Rica. Oh, and then we've got Christy representing Cuba. Hey, so I'm trying to get my pronunciation correct here, right? So we do start with an intro trivia question. And so who is going to read? Am I reading the trivia question, or who's going to read that trivia question?
I can go ahead and read it.
Okay.
All right, trivia question. When was the first time Hispanic Heritage Week, now Hispanic Heritage Month, was celebrated in the US? Was it A, 1988, B, 1968, C, 1990, or D, 1978?
I'd say 68.
All right, no, that was a good guess. Rafael is
That
straight
was
to the
fast.
point. No, no.
Does
Yorleni,
you know,
any guesses?
Well, I guess I'm going to follow Rafael's lead. He's been 40 years around here.
Yeah, I can't really guess because I put it together, but I think Rafael's onto something. I think he was. Were you there, Rafael? Were you there that day? I
Of
wouldn't
course
doubt
he
it.
was there.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's why he remembered. He signed the document.
And then as a follow-up, when President Reagan was president, 2 Latinos, I got their history when Reagan approved the monthly. He made it into a 30-day Hispanic Heritage
Instead of the
Month.
week.
And I think that was in '88.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So I think he kind of said the answer, but if you trust Rafael, maybe you have the answer. But hey, you can go ahead and make your own conclusions. We actually will have the answer a little bit later, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So just talking a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month and getting into some discussion. Want to actually talk about what Hispanic Heritage Month actually, again, it's individually means to you guys. So if one of you wants to, I'll actually go to Jorlani. We're going to pick on Jorlani this morning. For you, Miss Jorlani, what does this month actually mean?
Well, working with different cultures, with many different Spanish-speaking people in this country in the many years, about 8 years in the language program, I can say that this is a time to celebrate a huge diversity of cultures and people. That they speak language, everybody speaks Spanish, but with different accents. So it's just many different accents here. Do you know that there are 21 Spanish-speaking countries that they have Spanish as their official language? That is amazing. From Europe to the Arctic to the south of United States. So it's really a huge diversity. When you said Hispanic community, sometimes it needs to open your mind, kind of to really put the things in perspective.
I'm glad you said that, you're Lenny, about the opening your mind thing. Because when I think of what does Hispanic heritage mean to me, I definitely do see that. I think of like exploring different customs, cultures, and ways of life. Because even within the Hispanic community, where each individual like group is completely different. The way that I guess in Costa Rica, something in even in the Spanish or in the culture in the terminology that they might use is something completely different for Cubans. So being able to kind of explore and learn about not just our cultures, but being able to teach other people about Hispanic heritage and what we do, I think it's an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely. Even when we start teaching the kids, when you start teaching, when you start learning a language, you need to learn the culture as well, because language comes from culture. So it's really amazing to see how their minds and the hearts of all of those kids opens up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know what, you guys, one of the things, and we talked about this even off screen, was, the language and English as a second language. So for you guys, we talked about, hey, English is, may not have been your native tongue, right? So, as you've grown up and, having that language barrier, what do you wish, and it may not even just be the language barrier, maybe it's a cultural barrier, because we all have our own, past and our own life experiences. And I think it's really important for you guys to really, articulate that to our listeners today, is share a little bit about what you wish people understood about your Latina or Latino experience. Rafael, we haven't heard from you yet today, on the question part. Would you want to share a little bit about what you wish people know or would have known?
Okay, I've been public speaking at the college and university and the military bases on Hispanic Heritage Month. Sometimes I have to fill in for the keynote speaker when they can't show up, and it gives me an opportunity to share my knowledge or my experience. And uh, when we're talking about the language, uh, back in the 40s, somebody mentioned that modismo is the sal que da el sabor al
Hmm.
idioma. Modismo is the slang of each country, of each dialects that gives their Spanish the difference in for their culture, for their. So I think we have to appreciate the word modismo, which is a slang for. That's why we lose track of when different people are speaking, when they only use their slang instead of regular Spanish. But in the last 2 years that with COVID, I missed not speaking, and seemed like you lose part of your history when you're not out there speaking on your culture or your thing. Uh, but to me, the Hispanic heritage should not be just the food we eat, the dresses, the songs, the dances. It should be showcasing our heroes, our military generals, our military astronauts, uh, the public governors and judges that have been pushing the way and fighting for the cause, so that we're at where we at here now. So I think in teaching Hispanic Heritage Month, it should be more than just sharing who we are and what we do every day. But and I'll give one of the suggestions here. When I was doing public speaking, I usually take a lot of photos of our Medal of Honors, of our generals, of our astronauts, so that people can see, the children can see that we have our own heroes too, that we have fought in every war. And so to me, that's part of my pride in our contribution to this nation.
Rafael, you've said that so well, and you took us back actually to the first question, which I think was really great for you to add, just how passionate you are about advocacy, and I just love that. Just totally love that. So thank you for in sharing. And as we just one of the things that, and I don't know if you guys want to add to that. I feel like that, Mike, he was like mic drop, but if you guys want to add to that, one of the things, and I'll stop for a second so that if you want to add to that, I don't know,
Yeah, real quick. Rafael, gracias por decir eso. I'm really glad you said that. I was watching a TikTok the other day. I know millennials on TikTok. I was watching a TikTok the other day, and it was the first Hispanic astronaut, and she posted about it, and she talked about her journey, and it gave me goosebumps because it's something that we didn't grow up seeing. So being able to see role models in like those types of positions that you would have you would have never thought of, it's very inspiring. So thank you, Rafael. I know that you are a big contributor to helping the youth learn about real estate, learn about culture, learn about our heroes. I know Rafael was the first one to print out a packet and tell me about how the Cubans contributed to the Americas, and it's I'm really happy to have you as part of the team, Rafael.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here.
Totally. This brings us to the question that I had, in regards to experience. And I can tell you that just the experience, and I'll specifically speak to both Christy, you, and Jorlani. And specifically, Christy, I know just experience with you when you started, the confidence level there was, a language barrier, right? On some of the just terms and things. And, when we'd have conversation, you'd have to kind of reach, and Jorlani, kind of reach to think of what is the word for, hey, like just being able to just be in the word is escaping me, but in your careers and in your communications with people, it can definitely be a challenge. So I wanted to ask you, at growing up, going back to English as a second language, and now you're in a in the United States. And how have you talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had? And if you want to talk in Spanish, I mean, we know we have a huge, Latinx Hispanic audience that we're wanting to embrace here, as well as being able to help our non-Spanish speaking audience and really have an understanding of kind of the challenges that you've gone through just being in the United States and not having, English as the first language. Talk to us about that.
I can talk to that about that. I'm going to say that in English first and then in Spanish, kind of for the Spanish-speaking listeners. But I think there is something that a person that speaks a second language and is not in the environment of the first language can understand very well is that sometimes it means that every time you are talking, you are out doing something, you are out of your comfort zone. So it's a challenge for somebody that is completely normal, natural. I mean, you are in your environment. We all have challenges of different things. This is just an additional one, kind of the language. So we are sometimes fear of public speaking or different things. This adds to that. So what I've been learning to that about this is do your best, study hard, work hard, do your best that you, at the end of the day, you said, I did my best and I couldn't do better as I did. So you have peace with yourself. But also laugh about yourself. Sometimes things are just super funny and then you just laugh and you have funny stories to tell. So just take it easy, relax about that. Do your best work, but also laugh of yourself. So saying that in Spanish a little bit is, cada vez que nosotros, algunas veces que hablamos en un idioma diferente, cada vez que lo hacemos estamos saliendo de nuestra zona de confort. Es un reto y lo importante acá es hacer lo mejor que podamos en todo momento, ayudar a la gente, tratar de hacer lo mejor posible, nuestro mejor trabajo, y al final del día vamos a tener la paz de que hicimos lo mejor que pudimos. pero al mismo tiempo, algunas veces hay cosas muy divertidas, o sea, y simplemente riámonos de nosotros mismos. Hay cosas tan divertidas que pasan que yo todavía me río de historias de hace 5 años, 10 años atrás, y la verdad agrega a nuestra vida, nos da historias que contar que tal vez se las contamos a los hijos, a los nietos y van más allá, que son divertidísimas. Entonces, no nos tomemos demasiado en serio nuestro rol, hagamos lo mejor posible, pero también riámonos de nosotros mismos.
See. So, so since your Lenny actually got the when it comes to like verbal language, but physical is completely it's a whole different ball game. I think moving to Washington was definitely a culture shock. Um, being that I was born in the United States and I am Cuban American, so I feel like I'm not 100% of either. I'm not 100% Cuban because I wasn't born. I've never I've never been there. I wasn't born here. I was born in the United States. So for the Cuban side, I'm not 100% Cuban because I was born here. But for the American side, moving to Washington was a whole other beast. um, I guess I'm used to, being around Hispanics just like me, first generation Cubans. They're everywhere. So moving to Washington, one thing that one of the biggest struggles that I had to learn is greeting people. So, en la cultura hispana, aquí en Miami, cuando voy a saludar a alguien, le doy un beso. You give them a kiss in the cheek. It's a normal like, hey, how are you? Even when you're meeting someone for the first time, it wasn't abnormal for me to meet even a business partner and I'm meeting them for the first time and I give them a kiss on the cheek. It's a normal thing. So moving to Washington, you could imagine how many times I would lean in or people would like lean back or like give me a face and I'm like, oh no. So then I never know, like, am I supposed to kiss them? Am I supposed to go in for a hug? Am I supposed to shake their hand? So now I just like and I wave because I feel like that's the most awkward thing for me because I don't know how to properly address someone when I first see them. So I think that's one of the biggest struggles that I've had, like cultural struggles when it comes to language, is that actual greeting body language. So yeah.
That's
It
definitely good
gets
observation. I'll kiss you next time I see you, Christy.
okay.
Hopefully, with the new technology of the internet, some of the mistakes that I blame the mothers for not correcting the kids when they speak Spanish and mispronounce a word or say the wrong word. And they think it's funny and they let them go so that children
Mm,
keep talking that word or speaking that word, even though they know, they think it's correct. I'll give an example. Aguja y aguja, a needle. So many parents think that's funny and never correct their children. So the children assume that they're saying the right one.
mm-hmm.
Back in the 40s and 50s, after the World War II, we still didn't have the TV. We only had the radio. So a lot of the Spanish speakers from the old days, from the 1800s this way, were talking the old Spanish. It's almost like the old English,
Mm-hmm.
and they kept talking that. Now the new generation, especially in Spain and other Spanish-speaking countries, they have modernized their Spanish, and with the TV that you can use every day and pick up the current slang that's going on in Spain and in South America, Central America. So that's going to be a tremendous help to keep the learning, keeping the Spanish right. To me, when I talk to bilingual Spanish and English, I tell them, we are so lucky to have a bilingual, two languages. It's like having two computers. You can switch your search from Spanish to English or from Spanish to Spanish, English to Spanish. And I do that in my Bible verses when I can't think of the reference, and I said in Spanish, and it clicked back right back in Spanish. So my computers work beautiful when I forget one word in English or one word, and it comes back. So I think it's going to be a great access to our young people to to be able, and all the dictionaries are online, so any word you want to learn, you can do it, and they'll tell you, okay, Mexicans say this, Cubans say this, Puerto Ricans say this, you know.
Yeah, you got to be careful. They don't always cross over.
Yeah. So one of the things for, just wanted to mention, and then as we're running out of time, just want to recap, what's going on? Like if someone's just joining, like what's going on? So this is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are talking about Hispanic leaders in real estate. And we have some of our amazing brokers here with us. We've got Rafael, Jorlani, and then Christina on our marketing director for us. And we are just having that conversation just about kind of some of the challenges, what's really important, for some of our listeners to know. So if you, whatever channel that you're listening us from, thank you for joining us today. And as we, before we wrap up, there's another question that I want to make sure that we ask in regards to real estate. Okay, so want to add, and this could be a personal, or it can be just something that you might have a passion for, or something that is maybe an aha for you. But what do you think? There's so many issues and challenges that are in our real estate community. But what are some of the challenges that you see facing specifically the Hispanic community in regards to real estate, maybe right now? Anything come to mind that you guys want to share?
The financing, I think it's one of the important things, where a lot of the Spanish culture like to keep their money under the mattress, like the old people. And when they get to bring the down payment in, it's got to stay in the bank for 2 months before it's good money or verified. So that's one of the habits that we have to make sure that they understand that part of the financing. I think the other thing is, with the high prices and the high interest rates, it's harder for the people to get their down payments and other closing costs. But I'm surprised how many people, especially in the commercial, how many people are learning and finding their way through the commercial loans, SBA loans, to start up their businesses. And that's very encouraging to see an entrepreneur come in and start doing the business, and then as they make money, they're going to be able to buy larger houses or more expensive houses. So that generation, the new immigrants coming in.
I think one of the biggest challenges facing the Hispanic community right now, when it does pertain to real estate, is education. I would love to see more resources translated in Spanish, so that more people can benefit from these resources or have that information available to them, so that they can make smart financial decisions when it comes to buying a home. I know that me and Rafael actually worked on translating. I finished translating the law of agency in Spanish. So that's something that Rafael and me are working on currently to kind of get that out there. No sé si quieres hablar de eso, Rafael.
Sí. Aprendí mucho de otras palabras que no sabía, que no conocía, y corregí mi español. So when I'm talking to different groups, from Guatemala, from the other Central and South American countries that had not been up here, and with a flux of immigration, we have a lot of new immigrants here that we have to learn how to speak. And what I found out, that I ask them if they understand, for example, enganche, that's a Mexican word for down payment. And they said, what are you talking about? What does that mean? So then we have to go back to the original Spanish from Spain, pago inicial, which is the initial payment. It's simple, but if you never heard it, you don't know neither ones I'm talking about. So I think it's just expanding your vocabulary and your knowledge so that you can help different people and learn how they say it in their language. So I think and when you said about resources, we have a lot of resources. Consumer Financial Protection has it in English and Spanish. Thank God that just about everything's in Spanish. FHA has it in Spanish. Financing, real estate. It's just surfing and finding. You just select to translate to Spanish, or might not be perfect or correct, but at least you can get the meaning to them. So there's a lot of resources.
Mhm.
The National Hispanic Realtor Association is also. When I retire, I'm going to try to share some of my knowledge with them so that what I've learned through the years I can share, and hopefully we can get the manuals for different ethnic groups.
Did Raphael say when he retires?
Sí,
Did I hear
estoy
that correctly?
retired.
When I'm
I didn't
100.
I didn't want to say anything, but
When I'm 100.
What? Okay. Any final thoughts? We're running out of time here, but I just want to make sure
Nada,
that we, yeah.
muy rápido, Davina. Uno de los retos que yo me he encontrado en la comunidad hispana en este momento es entender el proceso para comprar una casa.
Understanding the
La
process.
información está ahí aislada de diferentes maneras. Es como poner el rompecabezas todo junto, entender el proceso. Y yo pienso que algunas veces cuando me reúno con mis compradores o mis vendedores es ayudarles a entender el proceso, qué es primero, qué es después, y ayudarles a trazar el camino para poder entender el sistema y poder prepararse mejor. So saying that in English is, I feel that some of the things that I found, maybe the main thing is to understand the system. Because there is information and different ways kind of all around, but just understanding what is the system, what is first, what is important, what is after. This has been a challenge, and not only for the Hispanic community. I found out in general, but maybe more in the Hispanic community, because sometimes you add that language barrier on that. So I feel that is kind of our responsibility as well, to help them to mark what is the pathway on to homeownership.
So good. So well said.
And
And
if I-
I'm
Let
kind of
me give you a
impressed.
quick before we stop, some ideas of how to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. It comes every year. There's no excuse why the schools can't program it, can't put it in their calendar. It gets me when, oh, we forgot it. Hey, that's a bunch of baloney. Put it on your schedule. It's there every ethnic group. Native Americans coming up next month. Asian Americans, all these Filipinos, all these ethnic groups, and there's no reason. I get to talk to I can talk with the African Americans about Martin Luther King from the top of my head. But for a Hispanic Heritage Month, I would recommend that as parents, call your congressional representative or your senator, or even write to the White House and get the proclamation. You can request this about 2 months before October 15th, and you'll have it so that you can post it to libraries, you can post it at the school bulletin. And our children should give them a test and say, hey, who's your Spanish hero that you want to talk about during the Hispanic Heritage Month? We have our own heroes. Let's talk about them. And we have to teach our children to do that every year. You can do, as a city and the counties, to do proclamations. Every state has a Hispanic commission that they do a proclamation at the state level. They can copy most of the stuff that they talk about, and then get your city. And I take along the young people with me to accept the proclamation. And those are routine stuff that you have to know what is proper, how you get the rest. Somebody's got to receive it. So it's an opportunity to get our college and high school children to go and accept the proclamation. And then they have 5 minutes to talk about it.
Yeah. We have like 2 minutes left, and I really don't want to miss it. Raphael, you had a keyword. You said hero. And before we go, we also have the trivia question, which we probably already know the answer to because Raphael basically knows the answer. But before we do that, we're going to wrap real quick. But I would just really quick, just like, can you, in like one sentence, we'll start with Christy. Do you have a Hispanic hero, and who is that? Who is it and why?
My Hispanic hero is probably not going to be anywhere near Rafael's. But as a Cuban, my Cuban queen is Celia Cruz, and she talks about one of my favorite songs is Carnaval, and she talks about how life is full of ups and downs, but you need to have a smile every day on your face. And I love Celia Cruz. She means a lot to our community. She means a lot to me. She came from nothing. She built an empire. I love her to death. So yes, my my Latina role model is Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz. All right. Jorlani.
Bueno, yo tengo varias héroes y heroínas. Yo tengo muchas amigas acá, costarricenses y latinas, y ver cómo ellas contribuyen a la comunidad, cómo con su trabajo, con un trabajo de excelente calidad, contribuyen a la comunidad, se convierten en heroínas, son modelos a seguir. Y es como un grupo que se consolida y se motiva unos a otros. También hubo un astronauta costarricense que estuvo acá en la NASA, Franklin Chan Díaz. Es una gran inspiración para muchos de los costarricenses que estamos acá, porque con su fuerte trabajo, dedicación, un nivel altísimo de calidad de trabajo y de reciprocidad. Realmente algunas veces, y Rafael cada vez que yo lo veo, él me motiva, me inspira, busca cómo ayudar. De verdad, Rafael, muchas gracias por toda su ayuda siempre.
De nada.
Oh, okay. So my non-Spanish brain, if I got this right, you said, Jorlani, I'm going to try to translate. Tell me.
I can translate.
You said that there are so many people that you could consider your heroes.
Mm-hmm.
This is just in a nutshell, but is it Frankie Chandrias?
Frankie Chandias.
Chandias is the person that you would choose, and you also gave Rafael some kudos as well. So did I get that right?
Yeah, bravo. Bravo.
Okay.
For now on, only Spanish with you.
Rafael, we are out of time. Rafael, real quick.
Bernardo Galvez, the governor of Louisiana, because if it wasn't for him in Spain, the colonies would not have gotten their independence, and we would be speaking Spanish right now in this country. And I want to say we have to keep our Spanish history, our contribution. We're going to be celebrating our 250th anniversary of independence in 2026. I want to see 2 full pages of our contribution in the commemoration books. And we have American Latino Museum. I hope the young people can Google American Latino Museum. We're going to build a new museum in Washington, D.C., and I can't wait to dump all my books and knowledge into that museum so that we can have our history showcase, our heroes showcase, the people that have fought all this time to get us here to where we are today. And hopefully the next 50 years, we did the best we could the last 50 years. It's up to the new generation to keep the torch going.
It's a lot of pressure, Rafael.
I just love the passion and the commitment and the knowledge, like the years of knowledge and the hands-on. Rafael, I could say that you've taken on and you wear it, and you're very public with it, and you share, and we need you everywhere, Rafael. You can't retire, okay? So I'm just saying.
I don't think he was planning on it.
Yeah, right? He said the R word.
Retired from real estate, but then I'll start my second career in military history.
Okay. All right. So real quick before we head out, our trivia question, can we pop that up real quick? All right. When was the first time Hispanic Heritage Week, now Hispanic Heritage Month, when was the first time it was celebrated in the U.S.? Was it 1988, 1968, 1990, or 1978? Rafael said 1968. Was he right?
He was correct.
And that was LBJ.
Yeah, Rafael knows.
He whips out a picture. It's him in the background whenever they were signing it.
Rafael knows.
Oh,
All right.
Rafael.
This was so awesome. Thank you guys I'm honored. I feel like I'm a better person now just sitting in this space with you guys, and I've learned and I want to give you all you guys a hug. Like I really do. Virtual hug. You a kiss, Christy. A kiss for Christy, right? So all right. If Christy,
Thank
do you
you,
want to
Christina,
send us out?
too.
Like, what should people do? Where should they be looking for us?
Of course. So if you are interested in more videos like this, if you like this, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. We are on YouTube. We have a podcast. We are everywhere. Just go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and I want to go ahead and thank you all for watching, but I want to make sure that I thank our amazing guests on the show today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Gracias a todos por visitarnos en Talent Talk. Estamos muy orgullosos de celebrar la cultura hispana con ustedes y hablar sobre todo lo que está pasando con nosotros y nuestra vida. Thank you so much for watching. You guys ready for a big Be Bold?
How do you say be bold in Spanish?
So it says ser abierto, which would be open. So I don't know.
No, ser fuerte. Es más ser fuerte. Be bold es como ser fuerte.
It's hard to translate that. It's because be fuerte is also like be strong. So we're just gonna have to end it with a big Be Bold.
Okay.
Fue lindísimo y estamos aquí para servirles con mucha dedicación y con mucho cariño.
Gracias, Yoleni. All right, guys. You guys ready? On the count of three, a big Be Bold.
We're ready.
All right, I'm gonna count in Spanish. All right, guys, ready? Uno, dos y tres. Be
Be
bold.
Bold.